My wife claimed she was heading out on a work trip, but I uncovered the truth through a hotel bill and handed her divorce papers in the lobby. Brianna, 32 and I, 34, have been married for 7 years. She works as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I'm in commercial real estate. We'd built what I thought was a solid, stable life together. Then about 3 months ago, cracks started showing. Charges for lingerie from Victoria's Secret appeared on our shared credit card. Something she'd never shown interest in before. She suddenly became a morning person, hitting the gym before dawn, when she used to despise early mornings. Her phone became glued to her hand, face down whenever it was near me, and she carried it into the bathroom every time. Last week, she casually dropped into conversation that she'd be attending a regional sales conference in Phoenix. That immediately struck me as strange, because Phoenix isn't part of her territory. She covers the Pacific Northwest. When I pressed her, she got prickly and insisted her company was expanding her region. Then, yesterday, our joint card was charged nearly $2,900 for a 4-night stay at the Phoenician Resort. That's a luxury spot, not the standard chain hotels her company usually books. A quick check on her company's site showed no conference listed in Phoenix on those dates. I sat at my laptop staring at the hotel's booking page, one click away from reserving a room for the same dates. Part of me questioned whether I was being paranoid. Then her phone buzzed while she showered. Preview said, "Can't wait for Phoenix," from someone named D. Reeves. She'd never once mentioned this vendor. That was it. I booked the room. 5 days later, I came back with answers. I'd hired a private investigator, and it was the best $3,000 I've ever spent. The man was Dustin Reeves, 38, owner of a sports equipment distribution business. He'd been a client of Brianna's for 6 months. Within 3 days, the PI delivered everything I needed. Photos of them at Morton's Steakhouse, her hand on his thigh, surveillance footage of them entering a hotel room together, and her leaving hours later, and proof she'd been tacking extra days onto her trips to see him. Even worse, she'd opened a secret savings account 3 months ago, funneling money from our joint investments without telling me. And Dustin? Married. 12 years. 3 kids. His wife thought he was traveling to close supplier deals. I didn't waste time. I sat down with Gerald Hoffman, a divorce attorney with a reputation for being ruthless. He laid out my options. Confront her immediately, file right away, or bide my time. Gather every piece of evidence, secure my assets, and make my move. I chose the third option. I saved every document and photo in multiple secure places. Opened accounts in a new bank. Redirected my commission checks. Drafted separation papers. Booked an STD test. And I circled Phoenix on the calendar. That week, Brianna turned on the charm. Cooking my favorite meals, suddenly initiating intimacy she'd long ignored. I saw through every bit of it. She thought she was outsmarting me, but I was already ahead of her. My brother urged me to confront her before the trip, avoid the spectacle. But she created the spectacle the moment she chose to betray me. She wanted drama. She was going to get it. Phoenix arrived. I flew in early, checked into a suite across from theirs, and from my balcony I could see straight into their room. She texted me after landing, pretending to be buried in budget meetings. Then I watched her walk in 20 minutes later with Dustin, kissing him openly in the sunlight, as if the world owed her secrecy. My stomach turned, but my focus sharpened. That evening, they went out for dinner. Her in the black dress I'd given her for our anniversary. That's when I began my counterattack. I called Dustin's wife Monica. She broke down when I told her, but Monica wasn't just some blindsided spouse. She's a corporate attorney, and once the shock gave way to rage, she was ready to coordinate. I also uncovered that Brianna's regional manager, Warren, was in town, speaking at a pharmaceutical conference nearby. He'd even posted on LinkedIn about a panel on ethics in sales. The irony was too rich to ignore. I sent him an anonymous tip suggesting he stop by the Phoenician for lunch to see something concerning about one of his reps. The next day, everything fell into place. Brianna and Dustin had a couples massage at 10, then a lunch reservation at noon. I set myself up at the bar with a clear view of their table. Monica's flight was delayed, but I didn't need backup. At 12:15 there they were. She was feeding him strawberries from her champagne glass like some bad romance flick. At 12:17, Warren walked into the restaurant. His eyes swept the room and froze on Brianna. At 12:19, I stood, walked over, and said her name calmly. She dropped her glass, and the crack of it shattering echoed through the room. Faces turned. She went pale. Grant. What are you? This isn't Dustin Reeves, I said evenly, extending my hand like I was introducing myself at a business deal. I'm Grant Morrison, the husband. Dustin shot to his feet, knocking over his chair, stammering nonsense about misunderstandings. But the truth was already spread out on the table, as undeniable as the shards of glass around her feet. Oh, and Brianna. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a thick manila envelope, sliding it across the table to her. These are yours. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Divorce papers. Along with the documents nullifying our postnup due to her infidelity. We'd signed that agreement 3 years back, right after my income took off. Inside were also printed screenshots of her texts, explicit photos, everything laid out. Her face drained of color. Warren, she gasped, only just noticing her boss standing 10 feet away, his jaw clenched, his face dark red. Ms. Morrison, Warren said, his tone sharp and cold. My office. Monday morning. 9 o'clock. But I wasn't done. Dustin, I said, turning to the man across the room. Monica wanted me to give you this. I handed him a second envelope. She'll be keeping the house, the kids, and the business. Expect her attorney's call. The man bolted like the building was on fire, stumbling toward the exit without another word. Brianna, dressed in sleek black, was left standing in the wreckage of her own lies, surrounded by stunned silence and shattered glass. How? She whispered. You set up a secret bank account on our Wi-Fi at home. I said evenly. You claimed you extended your Portland trip last month, but then posted an Instagram story from Pike Place in Seattle. You said you were sick 3 weeks ago, yet I saw a Brazilian wax charge on our credit card the same day. Do you think I'm stupid, Brianna? I close million-dollar real estate deals. Reading people is literally my job. She opened her mouth, but I raised my hand. Your belongings will be in storage by Monday. The locks are already changed. Your car, the one I pay for, was repossessed this morning. Your phone will be shut off at 5 p.m., and all the credit cards are frozen. Her eyes filled with tears. Grant, please. We can talk about this. No, I said flatly. We can't. You know what's sad? If you had just asked for a divorce, I'd have given it to you. We could have split everything cleanly. But you wanted to have it both ways. Now you get nothing. I started to walk out, then stopped. Oh, and that separate savings account? The $6,000 you siphoned from our investments? My attorney already filed for fraud recovery. Moving money without disclosure violates the transparency clause in our postnup. The last thing I heard before the door shut behind me was Warren's voice. Falsifying client meetings for personal use is grounds for immediate termination. I boarded a flight home that night. By the time we landed, my phone had 47 unread messages from her, swinging between apologies, rage, and begging. Monica texted me too. Dustin had locked himself in a hotel bathroom sobbing. She thanked me for telling her the truth. I felt hollow, but also lighter. 7 years of marriage ended in a Phoenix restaurant. But in truth, she'd ended it the day she chose to sleep with him. All I did was serve the paperwork. Update 10 days later. The fallout has been catastrophic for her. Brianna lost her job the very next Monday. Warren didn't stop at firing her. He reported her misconduct to the Pharmaceutical Sales Certification Board. She's now blacklisted from the industry altogether. On Tuesday, she showed up at my office building screaming about how I ruined her life. Security escorted her out, and my business partner caught the whole thing on video, in case we need a restraining order. Meanwhile, Monica uncovered even more dirt. She found emails proving Brianna and Dustin weren't just fooling around. They were planning a future. Brianna was going to divorce me once she drained enough of my money, and Dustin was going to leave Monica after his company secured a major contract. Worse, Brianna had been leaking insider pharmaceutical distribution data to him, helping his sports equipment company land rehab facility contracts. That's corporate espionage. Monica, being a corporate attorney, immediately reported it. Now the FBI's white-collar crime division is involved. Brianna tried to stay with her sister in Tacoma, but that blew up fast. Her brother-in-law called me, apparently she hit on him. When he shut her down, she brushed it off like a joke. They kicked her out. Our mutual friends? Most saw the evidence and walked away from her. Even her best friend Courtney messaged me. "I'm sorry, Grant. She told us you were controlling and paranoid. We should have known better. Thanks to the postnup, the house is mine." She walks away with nothing but the few items she brought into the marriage. About $3,000 in IKEA furniture. Dustin isn't doing better. His company is collapsing. Without Monica's financial backing, investors are fleeing. The FBI investigation sealed the deal. He even called me from a blocked number, ranting that I destroyed his life. I told him the truth. "I didn't destroy anything. You did when you slept with another man's wife." He hung up. Brianna tried one last jab, texting me from a burner phone. "I hope you're happy. You got your revenge." "I have nothing." I sent one reply. "You have exactly what you gave our marriage. Nothing." Then I blocked that number too. Therapy's been helping. My therapist says I handled this with sharp strategic thinking, though she warns me not to let the betrayal close me off from future relationships. Maybe she's right, but right now my focus is on rebuilding my business and my life without a parasite attached. And yes, for those who keep asking, I got tested. I'm clean. And yes, I've kept every piece of documentation. If she tries anything, I'll be ready. Final update, 3 weeks later. This is the last time I'll speak on it. 6 weeks since Phoenix, here's how things stand. Dustin declared bankruptcy. The FBI found enough to charge him with multiple counts of fraud and corporate theft. He's staring down prison time. Monica sent me a picture of him at his arraignment. He looked like a broken old man. Monica herself? She's doing great. We've met for coffee a few times. She's strong. Brianna, she's finished. No job, no career, no marriage, no fallback. She even tried to reinvent herself on dating apps, calling herself an entrepreneur between ventures, and claiming to have escaped a toxic relationship. The gall is almost admirable. Me? I'm moving on. I grieved. Not for her, but for the life I thought we had. Now I know better. She thought she could manipulate me. She thought she could bleed me dry. She thought she was the smartest person in the room. She wasn't. And now she has nothing but the wreckage of her own choices. Not in a romantic way, but simply as two people who had been through the same kind of betrayal, we connected. She's in therapy too, putting her energy into her children and her work. Just last week, she thanked me again for stopping her from wasting another year in lies. Now Brianna, that's where things get sad. After running through her sister, her parents who only allowed her to stay 3 days before she stole cash from her mother's purse, and every friend who initially offered her a couch, she's ended up in a small studio apartment in Spokane. She's working tables at a chain restaurant. How do I know? She actually mailed me a letter. A real physical, 3-page letter filled with distortions, manipulations, and her own twisted version of events. Some of the gems included her saying I emotionally abandoned her first, so she had no choice but to find comfort elsewhere. She accused me of staging everything just to humiliate her. That part, I'll admit, is partly true. She claimed Dustin somehow manipulated her, even though Monica uncovered emails proving it was Brianna pushing for the affair from the start. The audacity! It even ended with her asking if I'd consider marriage counseling. That letter went straight to my lawyer, who added it to the harassment file. But the real punchline came just last week. She applied for a position at a medical device company in Portland. Since she still listed me as her emergency contact, they reached out for a reference. I told them the truth. She was fired for ethical violations and is under investigation for corporate espionage. They appreciated my honesty. Thanks to that, she's effectively blacklisted in pharmaceutical sales. Her LinkedIn profile may still brag senior pharmaceutical sales rep, but everyone in the industry knows better. Warren made certain of that. As for me, I'm doing far better than I once thought I would. The fury has mostly dissolved, leaving behind something closer to indifference. I can finally see clearly all the things I ignored before. The little manipulations, the gaslighting, the way every time I voiced a concern, she twisted it back on me as being controlling or insecure. Work has been thriving. Strangely enough, the story of what happened boosted my reputation. People now see me as someone who's thorough, strategic, and unwilling to overlook anything. Since the Phoenix disaster, I've closed 3 massive deals, including a $40 million industrial complex that I'd been chasing for 2 years. I've also been taking better care of myself, regular workouts, down 15 pounds, and I even started classes in commercial photography, something I've always wanted to try. Turns out, I have a knack for it. There's something healing in capturing what's real. No games, no filters, just honesty. I even went on a date recently. Nothing heavy, just drinks with a woman I met at a real estate conference. She's sharp, funny, and most importantly, straightforward. When she had to take a call from her ex about their shared dog, she explained the situation right away. No secrets, no pretenses. That level of openness was refreshing. But the true test came yesterday. I was out for lunch when I spotted them through the window, Brianna and some new guy. She looked worn out. Gone were the designer outfits, replaced with bargain store clothes. The confident strut had shifted into something guarded and unsure. She was laughing too loudly, leaning into him, desperate to be whoever she thought he wanted her to be. For a brief moment, our eyes met. She froze. I could almost see her calculating. Should she come in, make a scene, try one last manipulation? I turned back to my food and kept eating. She wasn't worth spoiling my lunch. That's when it hit me. Freedom didn't come when I signed the divorce papers, or when I changed the locks, or even when her life imploded in Phoenix. It came right then when I felt absolutely nothing. No rage, no sadness, not even satisfaction. Just emptiness. She was simply someone I used to know. A mistake that taught me. Proof that when people reveal who they are, you believe them the first time. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. Your advice and encouragement carried me when I was drowning in self-doubt and gaslighting. If you're reading this and noticing warning signs in your own relationship, trust your instincts. They're trying to protect you. Don't let anyone convince you that you're crazy for seeing the truth. And Brianna, I know you're still lurking on my social media with fake accounts. If you're reading this, I want to thank you. You gave me the hardest but most valuable lesson of my life. I deserve better. And now I have it. I'm done looking back. My focus is forward. Grant, signing off. Edit. For those asking, yes, I'm working on a book about this. Not a revenge story, but a guide to spotting manipulation, safeguarding yourself, and rebuilding after betrayal. My therapist says it'll be healing. My attorney says it'll sell. Time will tell. Final update. Just got a message from Monica. Dustin accepted a plea deal. 18 months in federal prison, 3 years probation, plus restitution. She's taking the kids to Hawaii with her settlement. Thanks for giving me my life back, she wrote. No, Monica. Thank you for finding the strength to reclaim it. Epilogue 6 months later. On a post from someone who had just discovered their spouse was cheating, I replied under my throwaway account, Phoenix34. Brother, I've stood where you are. That gut feeling isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition. Your mind has caught what your heart doesn't want to see. Here's what I learned. Gather proof before confrontation. Screenshots, bank statements, photos. Hide them where they can't reach. Always consult a lawyer before you confront. Once you do, they'll scramble. Hide money, spin stories. Don't give them that head start. Control the timeline. Act when you're ready, not when they push you. Pay attention to their reaction. My ex cycled through denial, rage, bargaining, and playing the victim. Not once did she show real remorse or accountability. That was all I needed to know. You can't save a relationship alone. If they've already checked out enough to cheat, their decision's been made. You're just handling the paperwork. Someone once told me something that changed everything. She didn't cheat because of me. She cheated because that's who she is. A cheater. Good people in broken relationships try counseling, hard talks, or even divorce. They don't sneak around. Today, my ex is slinging plates in Spokane. Her affair partner is in federal prison, and I just closed the biggest deal of my career. I'm dating someone who respects me. The universe has a way of setting things right, but only if you have the courage to push it there. Stay strong. Trust yourself. And remember, the best revenge isn't just living well. It's living well while they sit with the consequences of their own choices. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If you enjoy these stories, please like, share, and subscribe.